games that you watch more? Which one? Hunter, bro.
Hunter x Hunter.
What?
I think he's talking about animes.
Oh, he's recording crud.
Yeah, they talking about something with Hunter x Hunter, right?
Oh,
Started. All right, so yeah, complex numbers. All right, all that is, this one is where we're going to start using imaginary numbers because we're going to start dealing with square roots with negatives underneath them. And kind of just like how we were dealing with, what was that, where you can't have a negative in the denominator, certain square roots you can't have a negative on. All right, so what they give for you is that whenever you run into a situation and you end up having a negative under the square root, they gave it a value. They gave it an imaginary number. So a complex number are dealing with imaginary numbers, this member's numbers, where if you end up with, y'all, if you end up with this value, square root of -1, it's going to equal I.
What?
I know.
You can't have a negative square root.
Can't have a negative square root. So in the event,
It's not real. It's imaginary.
not real, it's an imaginary number. In the event we end up with a negative square root, we give it a negative I. All right? So that's the best way for you to go about it. And then they made it, they gave you a second tool to help you with, just in case, like if you run into a problem, where they're now saying, anytime we get a negative square root, it's an I, where we don't end up factoring out that negative. But then if we end up with, let's say,
I have a question.
Yeah.
It's a positive I because you can't have a negative square root, right? So it became
right.
positive.
So if you see I, it's just it really means there's a negative underneath the square
So
root.
if it was a negative I, would that mean your square root was positive?
I don't think so.
Oh.
We're gonna deal with two terms today. Before we get to that, we're gonna deal with the -1 being I.
So if
And-
it's negative, it becomes positive, like the I. Because it's -1, so it becomes
Yeah,
I.
but that's what we are gonna call the square root of I.
So would it technically
And then hold on. Then what happens is, let's say if you square I, -1. If you square it,
Yeah.
you should get what value? Think about it.
Wait,
-1 times -1 is gonna make what?
1.
Right. Well,
That's what I was gonna ask.
but what do you? No. It's not gonna be positive. You take this out of the square root. So I squared.
Negativo.
Glad that you was asking. It's gonna be -1.
Wait, what?
Yes.
I don't understand.
Okay. The square root of -1, because you cannot have a negative underneath there, we're gonna call it I.
So
May I
that
use the
technically be
reference
one
then?
I. That's what I was gonna
Yeah.
ask.
Huh?
It would
Yes,
tech-
one
okay.
I.
Okay.
Sir, may I use the ring?
You want to use it now while I'm going through the? Go ahead. Catch the replay.
Okay.
So then, what happens is if we take this I and square it, I know it seems like it should be positive
because
1,
That's the opposite.
but it comes out as -1. You just take the square root out and it becomes -1 without the square root. Question.
Is this where like if you have a negative number to the second power, it would be the negative number times the positive version of that number?
No, you're gonna see here in a couple examples that we have. So let's say, for instance, right, if we have negative square root of 25, right? Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Hold on. Let's show them. Very good. What you end up doing first, what do you notice that's underneath there?
Negative.
The negative. So what you got to do first is take that negative out. So you're going to take that negative out first.
Yay. I like this.
Remember, what's the value of -1? I. So you'll have an I on the inside. So at this point, it looks like I square root of 25. Then what?
Wait,
Square,
what?
and you get
Let me,
I.
hold up. So y'all can see that.
Oh, it's like your denominator? Or
No.
remainder, I mean?
This is where we at. We're here. So we started here. You're gonna have the square root of -25. You know that you can't do that. So you take out. You notice you see the negative. Go ahead and immediately take out that negative, which we know makes what? I. So now you have an I on the outside. So what's that become is The I is on the outside, but you still got the square root of 25.
Oh, so it made the square root positive by doing that?
There you go.
Okay.
So now, what do you convert? The last part of that, you convert, what's the square root of 25?
5.
5. So your answer becomes, like Henry just said, 5i.
Oh, that's what I meant. It's kind of like.
We're going to try a few examples. You're going to get it. If it's a little fuzzy now, it's okay. You'll get it in a second. But that's just the imaginary unit of I. Want to stay and focus on that first. Got that? Let me know if I can move on. Y'all got that? I know if you don't get it now, remember catch it on the replay. All it was that we're dealing with imaginary numbers now. So whenever we're going to have a negative number under the square root, it comes out as I. That's the letter I. So therefore, if you square I, you bring out the negative and becomes -1. Yes, I squared is -1.
Is it possible to tell a negative number with an I next to it?
Is it possible to have a... Yeah, I don't see why not. I don't see why not. We got to see.
Yeah.
We'll check it out.
What was the question?
Let's say if it's possible to have a negative number, like can I have -5i? But we got to see. I don't want to tell you no. So let's try it. So if we have like a square root of -25, the first thing we would factor out is that I, which we know is a negative. You pull out the I and then just go ahead and solve the rest. The square root of 25 is 5. 5i.
Oh, is that basically your formula? The -1 equals I squared?
No, this is here. This is like a key. You can use
Yeah,
this
that's
as
what
a
I
key.
mean. It's like,
Yeah.
so you know the signs.
So you know what to do. All right. So keep this as your key.
Yeah, because I was confused how you got that answer.
These are the rules.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, you got to get the rules first. Yeah. Got that? Let me know when I can jot. Because there's another part. There's a couple more parts I got to put together. Y'all got that? Sliding? All right, good. So the breakdown, what I want to do is how can I do how complex numbers break down?
Oh, like the steps?
Nope, let me show you. Is what you have when you was just asking, can I have a negative number with a positive? Let's say each number is just like like terms. So you can't attach a whole number with a number that's already attached to I. So like let's say if I got 5i, I can't add 5i plus 5.
But can you add it have an I next to it?
Yeah, that's where the like terms come in at.
All right.
So let's say you'll have A will be a regular number, right? But the complex number, we'll call that BI. This is your complex number. Here's your complex number. This is just your standard number. So just like how I stated, you can't combine the two. So let's say if you had 7, right? But you can't combine 7 with 5i. This would have to be the format that is in. This being your standard number, this being your complex number. They gotta be separate.
I have another confusing question.
Go ahead. We about to do some examples, so it's the time to ask.
Could you have an exponent to the 5i? Could it be 5i to the power 2?
What's I squared?
I squared. So would it cancel?
What's I squared? Let's say if you had 5i squared, what would that become? Think about it.
Would be
-25.
No,
Mm-mm.
5 to the power of 4 because
5i squared. If I had 5i squared, how could you simplify that?
5
What's the value of I squared?
-1.
So what's 5 times
-5.
I squared? -5.
Ah.
Oh yes.
Like meaning if you had 5i squared, it'll just simplify to -5.
Oh.
Because what does I squared equal? -1. So really it's
Oh, so it doesn't
5
matter the value?
times -1. That's how
It
you
doesn't
do it.
matter the value.
That's why we mentioned the I squared.
Oh, so like.
So just use these two to basic, because what's gonna happen, we're gonna start adding numbers, and you're gonna start getting some I's and some I squares, and you're gonna have to start simplifying.
Does
Yeah.
that mean like I cubed is like even numbers?
You can keep it going. I cubed, I think would be, I know I to the 4th power is 1.
1.
Whole number 1. Think about it. Because if
Do we-
I squared is negative 1, what would I squared times I squared be? I to the 4th, which would be positive 1.
Do we need to know that?
Nah, you can, we eventually, but let's focus in the beginning. Remember, there's a
Okay.
lot to unravel.
Yeah.
It's like an onion. Let's take it in layers. You know what I'm saying? Y'all want to go
Term Shrek.
give me everything. I'm like, no, let's take the first layer apart. Get it? Here's the second layer of how to write them out.
Yeah, can you explain this slide? I didn't really understand.
Yeah. What happens is you're going to have your regular standard number,
So that would be 7, isn't it?
7, 13, 11, 145, right? And then we have our complex numbers that break down. Just know that you cannot combine these two because this is a complex number ending in I, and this is just a standard number. Basic terms of combining like terms. Rules of combining like terms.
I thought the I was supposed to be written differently though.
Mhm. Isaac had a question. You asked if I could do an equation like, let me look at this text and see what they say. Okay, I got one for you. You asked if you can have a squared number next to the I. Let's say Q, I got 5I to the second power. We know how to solve this one. You will have to do what to this power? You got to apply it to both, correct? So really when you take this out, this is 5 to the second power times I to the second power. What's your answer?
The exponent to both.
You got to square both.
Oh, I got it. Negative 25.
Very good. Because the 5 squared is 25, the I squared equals negative 1, and then when you combine both, you get negative 25. Light bulb just went off. I see
No, it did not.
it. It didn't?
No, it burnt out.
Darn it.
I don't understand.
No light bulb didn't go off? I thought I just seen it. Maybe it went off. That was Isaac light bulb I just seen.
What?
Ready to try a couple examples of what I'm talking about?
Yeah, sure, why not? Yeah.
I hope it's. Why do we have to learn about numbers that don't exist?
Imaginary numbers exist in math, so we gotta
They
learn.
do exist.
Especially.
Then why are they called imaginary? I'm so confused.
Because they don't exist.
You just said they exist.
No, they're imaginary.
What?
And
Yo,
you know what's more confusing? An infinite amounts of infinite.
yeah, that's true.
The math is
That
not
sucks though.
mathing.
I don't like thinking about imaginary numbers.
Then how do you understand this?
It's like cool. It's like thinking. I just like thinking.
Think
about
about
coefficients.
think about it as
and
like terms, and if it
variables.
breaks down to any I squares, then go from there. What terms are like?
Like terms.
I can tell you the
X
7
plus
and the
X.
1.
What two terms here? You got an equation.
Oh,
7 and the 1.
You got 7 plus 2i plus 1 minus negative, or 1 minus 4i. How would I solve that? What are my like terms?
7 and 1.
7 and 1. So combine, all you do is combine your 7 and 1. And what else?
The 2i
two,
and
negative 4.
the negative 4.
And that's to create what?
Negative
Madness.
2i.
You got 7 and 1 that are my like terms. Go ahead and bring those two together.
So you have 8.
Remember that format that I was telling you? Remember the format we was just talking about? We're going to break it down to this format. Maybe I should do it like this. We'll do all of those in Dan Yeller. So all the standard numbers you know going to be in yellow. We'll put all the other numbers that we supposed to have, make them blue or something. That ain't going to show. Maybe that green will show.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just keep it.
Very colorful.
Well, just so you can, it's easier, I feel, to organize
Yeah, no,
when it's
it
like
is.
that. You'll be able to see it. So remember, you're going to have to separate the two. You keep the standard numbers with the standard numbers and the complex numbers with the complex numbers. Going back to that question. If you see here, you had kept your two yellow numbers together. Everything else is complex.
Yeah. 'Cause they're
So
not-
here we're gonna have to add it, right? To what two numbers over here? 2i
minus 4.
minus 4i. Those two go here. Do you see that?
Yeah. I'm scared for the next step though.
So what should my answer be? 7 and 1 make 8. And then I got negative 2i plus 2i minus 4i make
-2.
negative 2 what?
I.
Hopefully that show up on the screen. You seeing that? You know we about to try a few examples.
Wait, would that be your final answer? Because they can't mix together.
Exactly. So here is our answer.
Oh, because I was trying to plug it into that.
But why would you put parentheses?
I separated it from the plus. I could have made
Yeah, because it's a positive.
I could have made it this or this a word too.
Oh.
Those are two of the same.
Can we go over one of the more simple ones where you have to plug it in with the rules? Because those confuse me.
Can you give me a hard one? Honestly.
No.
No, we building. We're building. We're building.
Two.
Chill out.
Yeah.
Try to go slow. Go fast.
No.
You got that? Let me know when I can slide.
I understand this one.
Okay, so let me push on.
Because they're separate.
Yep. Let me see where you at, Danielle. Let's give you Henley, I'm gonna give you a tough one real quick. Let me
Yo,
see
me
if you
too.
can catch
Can
it.
I
No, this is for them, not me.
Yeah, for them. I'm coming back to you, Rebecca. I'm gonna come back to you.
I think we race it.
Alright, wait, let's write the formula first.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, what the?
Oh. Wait, hold on, Isaac, I didn't write it yet. Give me a second.
Think about that rule of keeping your
Are you ready?
standard numbers together with your complex numbers.
Do I write this down?
If you want.
Hard example. Oh my
What would I combine here, Q?
Q.
Quiz. Justin. And who is that? Andrew? What y'all over there looking at?
What's up?
What are y'all doing over there?
I got it.
Are you serious? While we in math? Come on, close this up.
I figured it out already, so I'm just waiting for like.
Oh, you got it? Carry on then. I ain't gonna bother you. Go ahead, carry. I'm saying, if you already figured it out, carry it on.
Yeah, it's just combining.
What we combining here? What two numbers I'm combining? I don't know, the screen just looked crazy when I looked up. I'm like, what the heck is what's going on?
I think the first step would be distribution, right?
No distribution.
The-
Yeah, that's 13 minus I. Remember what I just showed you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, the 6 and the 5.
Keep all of, that ain't it. Keep all of your numbers together. Keep the standard numbers together. Keep the complex numbers together.
Like I was
So here I got 6 minus negative 5 minus 13. What are my standard numbers?
-5.
Before that,
-6.
6 minus
-5.
and
13.
so if I combine those, what do I do?
Wait, that's. What? I need a calculator.
I might be wrong. Once you distribute the negative.
There you go. Very good. So first,
Can you write it out?
take this negative 1, distribute this out first. So now this becomes 6 plus 5 minus 4i
minus 13 plus I.
Oh shoot, sorry. Any questions on what we just did here?
No.
Any questions? Would you like me to explain real quick? You seem lost. You took this -1 that's right here because it's 6 minus.
Yeah,
So we
I
had a
know that
-1
one's
here.
positive, yes.
-1 and -5 gave you a positive. -1 and positive 4i made this -4i. See that?
No,
-1 times -5 made it positive.
Wait, there's multiplication?
You're distributed. Then the -1 times positive 4i turns into the -4i. Ruth, you got that? Then the -1 times 13, -13.
-1?
There's a negative on the
Oh.
outside of these parentheses. So the -1 times the -I made it positive I. Now combine my like terms. What are my like terms?
6 plus 5,
You're gonna add 6 and 5 and then subtract what from them?
13.
What should I get when I do all three of
11
these?
minus 13 is 2. Negative 2.
What kind of 2?
Negative 2.
-2 as a standard.
Then,
And then we gotta combine the rest of them.
negative 3I.
You got -4i plus I gives me,
Negative 3I.
so there's your answer.
This is just for writing like terms or something like special.
That's the term you gotta put in. You can't combine these two. So don't turn it into -I
Yeah.
or -5i like some people would have tried to did.
How did you get -2?
Because what's 6 plus 5?
11.
What's minus 13?
Oh, okay.
-2.
I didn't see the 13.
Don't worry, we're gonna do a few. You ready to try a couple exercises now? Let's try it. We might as well.
Wait, let me write this real quick.
Jot that down.
Trash.
I can click that.